Let's be honest. If you've ever worked with data, you know the feeling. It's this constant flood of files coming from everywhere, all in different formats, and you somehow have to get them all into your data warehouse. It's usually a frustrating, manual, and super brittle process. So today we're going to dive into a platform that's designed to tame that chaos, AccuStream.
I mean, it should be simple, right? Just move a file from point A to point B. But anyone who has actually tried to automate this knows the reality is, well, it's way more complicated. So let's start with the big question that keeps so many data teams up at night. Why is this so ridiculously hard?
Well, it's hard because you're dealing with this whole mess. You've got CSVs, you've got JSON, you've got Excel sheets, and they're coming at you from all over the place. SFTP servers, S3 buckets, different APIs. And you know what's worse? The structure of these files can change without any warning. A new column gets added, one gets removed, and boom, all your scripts break. Oh, and don't even get me started on those massive files that just chew up all your memory and crash everything. It feels like a constant battle, right? But what if you could just replace all of those fragile, custom-built scripts with one single, robust system? The solution is to stop thinking about this as a bunch of separate, annoying tasks and start thinking of it as an automated data factory. And that is exactly what AccuStream is all about. It's a platform that automates that entire process, moving data from all those different sources straight into your data warehouse. The promise here is beautifully simple. You set it up once, tell it where to look for data and where to put it, and it just handles the rest, reliably. I love this analogy, because it just clicks. Think of it as a factory assembly line for your data. It's really the perfect way to picture how these raw materials, all your messy data files, get turned into a polished, finished product that's actually ready for analysis. We're going to stick with this factory idea for a bit.
You know, every great factory has a skilled crew, and AccuStream is no different. So now, we're going to meet the core components that make this assembly line tick. Each one has a really specific and super important job to do.
So here's the bird's eye view of that assembly line. It all starts with a scout, whose whole job is to find new files. Then, a mover comes along to extract and deliver them. After that, a detective cleverly figures out what's actually inside the file. From there, workers load that data into organized storage layers, and finally, everything gets transformed and polished, ready for business use. See? It's a clear, logical flow from start to finish.
All right, let's zoom in on our first crew member, the scout. Its job is to be incredibly picky, in a good way. You don't want to just grabbing every single file it sees, especially junk or test files. So as you can see, you can tell it to only find files that match a specific pattern, like your daily sales CSVs, while totally ignoring others. And what's really smart is that it remembers every file it's already processed, so you never accidentally load the same data twice.
Okay, next up is the mover, or the transfer agent. And honestly, this is where things get really impressive. How in the world do you move a file that's way bigger than your available memory? Well, you stream it. The mover reads and writes the file in these small, manageable chunks, and the result is just, wow. It can transfer a massive 100-gigabyte file using only about 200 megabytes of memory. This one feature alone completely gets rid of those dreaded out-of-memory crashes. It's a game changer.
So once the file has arrived, our data detective gets to work. This is the inference module. Instead of you having to manually define the schema for every single file type, which is a total pain, this module just figures it out. It automatically looks at a sample of the data and says, okay, this column is dates, this one is numbers, and this text field has a max of 50 characters. It saves an unbelievable amount of time.
All right, so the data has been found, it's been moved, and we know what's in it. But where does it all go? You can't just shove everything into one giant folder. That would be chaos all over again. Instead, AccuStream uses this really brilliant organization system. The best way to think of it is as a 3-layer filing cabinet.
And here's that filing cabinet. Let's start at the bottom. In the raw layer, the data is stored exactly as it arrived, a perfect, untouched copy for safekeeping. Then you move up to the middle drawer, the bronze layer. This is where files from the same source get combined, column names are standardized, and duplicates are removed. This becomes your reliable source of truth. And then, at the very top, you have the silver layer. This is where all the business logic gets applied, creating that clean, polished data that's ready for your dashboards and reports.
So, what's the big takeaway here? The crucial point is that we've gone from this reactive state of constant firefighting to a proactive, automated, organized system. So let's look at the payoff. Let's see what this transformation from total chaos to clarity actually looks like in practice. This table just sums it all up perfectly. Before, you were stuck with manual scripts that were so brittle they'd break the second a column name changed. Now you have automated, reliable pipelines that can actually handle those schema changes. Before, large files were a complete nightmare. Now, memory-efficient streaming handles them like it's no big deal. The bottom line is this: you are trading all those wasted engineering hours for data that is simply ready for your team to use.
And when you automate with a system like this, the benefits become crystal clear. The biggest win by far is reliability. The system just works, day in and day out. Right behind that is scalability. It can handle more data from more sources without even breaking a sweat. And of course, by standardizing everything, you automatically boost your overall data quality and the speed you can get insights.
And that really brings us to the final thought. This isn't just about the cool tech details. It's about the possibilities that this kind of system unlocks. When your data engineers aren't spending all their time bogged down fixing broken pipelines, what new insights could they uncover? What amazing new products could you build? So the real question I want to leave you with is this: what could you and your team achieve if your data just worked?